Right, guys, we're here again. Now, this girl looks a little bit manly, I would say. What is wrong with her? But no, from front view, she looks pretty much okay. From the side view, maybe a little bit of an Adam apple here seems to be in order, which is never a good idea on a female. Yeah, that's a good differentiation between female and male, the Adam apple. If it has Adam apple, most likely it's not a female. But the long neck, it's too long probably. But it's thin. The jaw, maybe we can make it a bit like this. Smaller jaw, smaller chin, and going more up. This angle here. By the way, this is also one thing that differentiates male and female, is the angle of the chin in this area. In this area here. So in the female will be something like this, so a high angle, and in the male will be more like this. Of course, there are so many variations that this is kind of true, but if you want to do a more manly face, make the chin, the lower jaw, this angle more like this. If you want to do more femalish, do it more like this. Of course, you have to be careful, because sometimes, I told you, females with a little bit of male features are pretty good looking. That's why we shouldn't avoid doing them. So now, let me just, how do we call it here? This one is photo ref girl. Okay, photo ref girl. We just, and these are her teeth, by the way, and I will connect her with her teeth. Although there's not exactly teeth, but still. So the cylinder and the photo ref girl, we select them both, Control J to connect them together. And now it's only the cylinder because I'm stupid. Photo ref girl, and we go to, yeah. So all of those heads until the beginning of the course are here. They're all here, which is very cool. What, do we have another scene? Ah, we have this. Yeah, this is something for a freelance. I don't care. We don't care about it. Something. Just a freelance thing. So, Shift A, Mesh, Sphere. We add the sphere. Now, front view is 1. Okay. And before we start, we have to analyze the concept, as always. So, let me analyze it. Now, it's above me here. Now, what do we search for in this particular exercise? We search for to establish this thing here, which is the muzzle of the mouth, and to establish it in this way that it's visible, it's there. As you can see, there's a little shadowing here coming like this, but it's very smooth transition. So it's not a sharp transition in any case. You have to be very careful. This is just a plane change here. There is no indentation, there is no sharp corner or something. It's just a plain change in here. And this is kind of difficult to do because you have to know how to do it. You have to be subtle. So subtlety in a female face is a key. The other thing is a big lips, very nice big lips. Also, a kind of a short nose. If you see from this area here to this, it's kind of short. It's not very long nose. But you see, from distance from this part of the nose to the corner of the eye is almost the same as from the front, most prominent part of the nose to the back. Of course, this is a little bit shorter distance than this, but it's similar. And many people are making this distance very short. They're making the eye here, which is never a good idea. So be careful with that. This, we will have this kind of fat pattern here, which will be kind of like big blob around here. We will have the inner corner of the orbit of the eye here. The other orbit of the eye will be here, and here it will be touchable around this area probably. and then it will come up here. So this is the skull, basically, the corner, and here will be our nose, around here, like this. The nose of the skull. But the idea is that this thing here is, you see how it's protruding. This is the fat pad which is above the upper eyelid, above the eye. And the crease is just below it. And that's what's making the crease, basically, is this. And the eyes here are very interesting because they're not super open. They're slightly closed. They're open, of course, but slightly closed. And we'll have to try to do it. Also, the jaw is coming pretty steep angle, so it will be a pretty manly jaw, most likely. We'll see. And the ear will be around here. And let me try, by the way, to draw a little bit on her, but like this. So to see where her skull will be, to find the skull, if we can. I'm not sure I can do it, but still here. This. Very cool. Very nice. Now, her ears, of course, are this thing. They are too much back, in my opinion. But let's say they are this. They are big ears, like elf ears. Okay, doesn't matter. Then we will have a little bit of this, and then here we will go something like this, probably. Will be her head, and the neck will come like that. This probably will be a little bit more steep in here. This. A little bit more steep. But overall, something like that. Sternocleidomastoid muscle. Here we'll have like this. The clavicle. Clavicle sometimes is visible here on the end, and then the shoulder begins from there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it looks relatively fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter what's happening next. Okay. Let's try it. Let's try to do it. Now, let me just zoom in a little bit. Although, for the beginning of the work, we don't need to zoom in that much. Let me just turn on my screencast keys so everybody can see what keys I'm pressing. Let's have a little bit more space with Control Space Bar and continue. Control Space Bar is a very nice shortcut. When you're sculpting, you don't need too much to see the menus and stuff like this. You don't need the modifiers. You're just sculpting. Concentrate to sculpting. Control Space Bar, and then when you need them, Control Space Bar again. Now I lost it because I was in the front orthographic view, and when I rotate, it sometimes just goes away. I just press Home on my keyboard, and it's fine. But as I told you, this is not exactly a Blender course. This is a forms and shapes and anatomy of the human head course. Female and male. I probably had to make it only male and then to make a female as a separate, but I think it's cool. I mean, it's fine. By the way, before we do the feedback heads, the feedback of the student heads, I will probably do one more male head. It will be from a photograph, and we will see how this will go. But for now, let's make just the normal shapes of the head. And as you can see, this is my forehead here. It's much narrower than the back of the head here. And from the top view, it looks like an egg shape, kind of. And we have to do this because if you do this very wide here, you will not notice it until your eyes have to be very big and everything will go to hell, believe me. And then from that, I mean, smooth it so everything is smooth because it's a female. It has to be smooth, everything has to be smooth. And just flatten this bottom area, and we will make a chin in here, and we will be very careful with the neck, not to make it too much backwards. Make it a little bit forward, but not too much too. Nothing has to be too much, especially in the female. In the male, you can afford some things to be too much. It's not a problem, let's say. In a male face. In a female face, it is a problem. It's a huge issue. So be careful with the female faces. Female faces are always more difficult. And as you can see, even I cannot exactly make them super femalish and nice. But I know that probably if I spend like 2 more hours on a head, most likely it will be better. Just tiny bits of and pieces here and there, and it will be definitely better. For a female also you can do like this. You can increase this size, this, and make this kind of a triangular shape on the front. And then when you remesh it, we can make a little bit of a clavicle in here. And it will be very cool looking. It's also kind of printable. So I'm making the sternocleidomastoid to it and then smoothing it because we know that it's flat. It's not inflated like in a kind of a testosterone human male. It's flat and not so developed because it's a female. Females are not with so much muscle, except if you are doing a She-Hulk. But She-Hulk also has to look like, if you have seen the series from Netflix, she has to have femalish and nice features. If she doesn't, you know, she will look like a monster, but she has to look sexy, although she is strong. So her muscles also are nothing like the muscles of the Hulk. The Hulk muscles are much bigger and thicker and all that jazz. Now I will make the muzzle of the mouth here. Now I will make the distance, I mean the place of the nose, where the side of the nose will be. Then I will make a little bit of the nose. Then I will push a little bit here. And then make the overall eye sockets. Then inside. And then I will symmetrize, of course, like always. There is time for everything, and symmetrize is now. And now, what I like to do here is we need more meat around this area. This looks like a skull. This looks like a konцлагer victim or something. Concentration camp. Konцлагer is in Bulgarian. Concentration camp victim, which we don't want. We don't want something that thin, especially from 3/4 view is visible, that we need a little bit more meat in here, a little bit more, and I will just put a bit more into the cheeks, a little bit here, and then smooth it. And all that I'm doing in very low polygonal mode. I am very low on polygons, which is completely okay for now. And since we are very low on polygons, everything is angular and it doesn't look like a female at all. But at some point it will. As you notice, now from this point of view, this is looking, the eyebrows are looking a little bit too much, but I will just push above them and then smooth the area above the eyelids. And yeah, they will have to start to work. Now I think we are okay to inflate this head a bit and the back of the head a bit. It shouldn't be that long like this. And I will not make her ears elfish, at least not so long, because it's looking very good. The eyebrows also, but we don't need that. Our goal is to research. If of course you're feeling like elfish and you want to do it like that, it's absolutely normal and cool to do it, because it will be fun. And one of the purposes of our sculpt is fun. We have to have fun. We have to also make sure our ears are a little bit more up, our nose is a little bit more down probably. All that things here go forward. The face, the chin will go backward, the nose will go forward with the other parts, and the nostrils, we take them and push them into the face back. And then all the things around them we have to also push back. But it will be for the best, because If we don't push back the nostrils and they stay in the front, everything will go to hell. Promise, I promise you. So be careful, and the nostrils always go back into the face, and then all the things you just smooth around them. Alright. So this is done. I'm not sure about the forehead here, but I will do it as I did in the others. Just push here a little bit, but be careful not to make temporal lines like this, for example, because it will be malish. Just everything is smooth and cool. We have to be cool, silent and smooth. Now this I will push back a bit. And as I told you, it will not look like the concept, as always. For this amount of time that we have, the likeness is just tiny, which is absolutely okay. I mean, I've spoken with people who are doing likenesses, and I know a few people who are good in likenesses, and I'm asking, how much time do you spend to make the likeness of this head, of this person or actor? Sometimes people are working on the likenesses until they get it almost correct for like 30-40 hours, which is ridiculous in my opinion. It's not ridiculous, it's normal, but I don't quite have that amount of time, and I cannot spend it because I'm a little bit this type of guy who is I have to do the job. I mean, I have a job, I have to do it quickly. That's why I'm so quick. But for some places like the bedroom, the quickness is not so good of a quality. But for sculpting, it's fine, and I have a channel in which I sculpt characters for 2 hours, which is great. Now I will flatten this areas here just to make it look like a bust. Yeah, we can take a little bit of time to make our presentation a little bit better, and it will be a little bit better. As probably you guessed it already. Now here I'm making this dimple, and then those tiny kind of muscles that are connecting in this place. We can make the dimple a little bit longer. Let me see how it is here. It's not very visible what's happening here, although I would appreciate here a little bit of clavicle, because it looks very smooth in here. Everything else is very cool. This area looks too smooth without the clavicle and all that stuff. And I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the neck. And if you do a head, even if the head is kind of okay, if the neck part is not great, if it's not correct, if you don't have a nice clavicle in here, in a female I mean, in the male, the clavicle is a little bit more difficult and different. It's not difficult, it's a little bit different, because there, especially in a strong male, we will not see the bottom of the clavicle. This bottom of the clavicle will not see it, because the muscle is very huge and is covering it completely. But in a female, we will see it, the bottom, because the muscles are very tiny and thin, and they are just, you know, wrapping around and going below. And you can see that, by the way, in the Anatomy for Sculptures book. The Anatomy for Sculptures book is just the best if you can read it. And it's not about reading, there is so little text in this book. But the idea is that you have to be able to read the things. Let me show you a little bit of Anatomy for Sculptures. So the illustrations here are awkward, they are bad, they don't look good. But you have the proportions of the face. You have, especially here for the male, for example, you have half of the face are the eyes, and the other half is below the eyes. Then half of this distance below the eyes and the chin is the nose. Not always, but sometimes yes. And then here the mouth comes in 1/3 of this distance between the nose and the chin. The middle of the mouth is 1/3 of this distance. In the upper third it comes. The eyes and everything. If you kinda can read this, you will have all the answers. This is from Anatomy for Sculptures. Yeah, I bought the book. This, as you can see, this is wrong to draw it like this. This is wrong to draw it like this or to sculpt it. This is correct, to sculpt the jaw and then this thing underneath the jaw here, this thing is in here. That's what they're showing here, that we have this kind of thing. You see the widest point of the skull just above the ear here, and it's from the top view. The head looks like a egg shape a little bit, and from here it's a little bit ridiculous because those are drawing and it's not good. But this is probably a scan or a photograph of a skull, which is cool. Those drawings here don't look quite right, but whatever. And here again, you see the right shape of the skull from the top, or the head, and the wrong is just a sphere or just elongated sphere, which, by the way, is the most common shape that people are using when they are beginners or even intermediate sculptors. They are in this head are making, because they cannot read the book of anatomy for sculptures, and all the pages there contain invaluable, I mean super valuable information, but you have to be able to read it. You see the temporal line, the temporal muscle, the temporal line is this. You see it here on the male is kind of more angular. You see the temporal muscle here inside, and you see how the eyes are connected. If you kind of can observe what's happening in this book, you will be okay. But don't trust only the book. What is this bump? It's called the node. Several muscles, facial muscles connecting here. That's why we have a bump in this area here, just outside the corner of the mouth. And all that things are very interesting, but you have to try, you have to sculpt a lot to be able to see where your problems are and then focus on that problems. But in the beginning, your problems will be everywhere, because I've seen beginners say, I have big problems on sculpting eyes and ears, for example. And when I see their sculpt, the nose is hideous, the mouth also. So the problems are everywhere. They're not only on the mouth or the eyes. They're everywhere. They think that they have problems with the eyes only, for example, but it's not the case. Most of the time, beginners have problems with everything, and also problems to combine everything and connect it into one, which is the main issue, of course. But we have to do it, and this is fixable with a lot of practice. A lot of practice. Many people think that they have to do like 5 heads, and at the end, the 5th head have to be amazing. It's not like that. Maybe 500 heads will be more appropriate to do. And even after the 500 heads, I've seen people who don't make a big progress. Why? Because they don't use references. They don't try to understand the forms. They're doing the same thing all over again that they know in their heads, in their library, which is a very, very poor library, because they just didn't have the reference time. You have to have time with references, analyzing them. Not only references, analyze your own face in the mirror sometimes. Just take your time, look yourself in the mirror, look like this, analyze the forms. For example, now I'm studying the eye. Let's analyze the eye, how it looks here. Okay, this line above the eye. Okay, this thing here, the eyebrow, where is it exactly compared to the eye? Okay, good. This line here, what is this? This is the inner part of the orbit of the eye, okay? We have the nose, how it's connected here between the eyes. All those things are pretty complex. Everything is very complex, but definitely if you want to study it and learn it, you have to study it and learn it, and you have to spend a lot of time into that. It doesn't come cheap and easy for nobody. It's just impossible. Let's continue. So I will make this kind of cheek here. I will smooth it, see how it looks. Then I will put more meat in here, smooth it, see how it looks. I will make this line in here, smooth it, see how it looks. Make the ear, push this area in, smooth it, see how it looks. And I'm always like doing something that see how it looks, stuff like this. Careful with the head, with the top of the head. Sometimes it becomes a little bit too big. Now it's too big. Now I'm making a little bit smaller. Maybe it could be too small. We'll see how it goes. But it shouldn't be too big or too small. That's what I'm about. I have to say. In a male, you could get away with making it a little bit smaller. In a female, it should be a little bit bigger, but not too much. We have to be careful. Many people are making it too big for a female because of the hair. They think that the male skull is bigger because the female skull is bigger because the female always have hair. Almost always. Of course, you can find references for females without hair, like shortcut or buzz cut or whatever, and you will see exactly what the skull shape is. But you have to do your research, and doing your own research, not depending on other people, making sure you have the knowledge from first hand. Not some guy like me telling you, this is like this and this is like this. Because this is my perception. Of course, it could be right. And it could be easy for you to understand it this way. But then, when you have the base, you have to go and search for yourself what is happening. What exactly is happening. You have to look at the people in the metro, for example. And, for example, if you see a beautiful girl, you have to go to her and go like this. Touch her, and yeah, probably you will you will thrown away from the metro, the train. But those things are important. Do you remember, if you know, Michelangelo, how he learned anatomy? He was studying anatomy by cutting out corpses. He was going into the morgue, and in the night, without too much of a permission, and he was spending the night there, cutting off corpses and studying their muscles. I don't suggest you do that, because that's not needed today. Today, you have a lot of anatomy books you can learn from, and the best one, I may say, is Anatomy for Sculptures, but don't restrain yourself with just one. Look at more. Like Bames anatomy is pretty cool. Bridgman anatomy it's a little bit more, it's difficult to understand if you are a beginner especially, but it's cool. And there are all types of anatomies. Every anatomy book has its values. And you can learn something from it. So, yeah, find some anatomy books. But Anatomy for Sculptures definitely is the most modern one. And very well structured, with very little text, but wherever there is a text, you have to read it because it's very important. So read the text and understand it. Think about what's happening. Let's cut the nose in half and just make the two halves. Be careful with the cutting the nose. I always say that. Just smooth it then. Cut it a little bit and then smooth it. Otherwise, it will be bad. So the eyes are small and too further apart. So I will just push them together a little bit. And they are okay now. Or at least better. Alright. We are in a good position now. We don't have eyebrows, we don't have a mouth. But we are in a good position. I will cut here, just to see, and make sure my chin is okay. It doesn't look ultra cool, I would say. But it's not, it's something. I mean, yeah, it's a base, which is good. Now let's make a little bit of this fat in here, just to make it a little bit more and smooth it. Be very careful with, I told you, this lines in here and everything. If the nose is this big, for example, I'm not sure if it will be exactly this big, but if it's this big, then the lip should be pretty close to the nose, so it should start around this area. So let me make it like this, just to make sure that it's there, and then I will push below it like this. Now it's looking good. Now I will make the lower lip, but I will inflate the lower lip only in the middle part. And on the sides, I will leave it kind of flat like this. So you see, it's not exactly like our concept, but it's not looking ultra bad. So what is wrong with her? It's not wrong, but it's a little bit more manly feature. The big chin. It's kind of big and prominent, which can be cool, but also we can say this is a very beautiful male, for example, now. Kind of a young, beautiful male guy. Which is bad. I mean, it is like this, and it's not cool. So how to make him her? We have to push the corners of the mouth a bit in. Let's see if this will work. And then make this kind of a bumps around. But her bumps are not ultra big, so I will make them and then smooth them a lot. And now she is coming together. It's not him anymore. It's kind of her already. So we are in the right direction. We have more to do, of course, but it's getting there. It's now looking a little bit like her. Then I will make sure our mouth is a bit bigger. We don't need very small mouth and big head, for example. The chin will be a bit smaller. We don't need this big of a chin. But before that, I will mask the upper lip and move a little bit the lower lip down, because her mouth is a little bit opened. This way, it will give me a little bit smaller chin area in here, which will be great. Then I will disable the mask, or clear the mask, we may say, and we need teeth. Without the teeth, it will look awkward as always. But before the teeth, we need to fix our lips. So I'm making the lips now. The lips, by the way, and the female, they usually have, especially the lower lip, is pretty cool. We have to do it. If we don't do the lower lip properly, it will look bad. It's very kind of a curvy. And if you do it correctly, it will look very beautiful. If you do it badly, it will look very bad. As you can probably notice sometimes when you do a sculpt. Yeah. Now, Control R, increase the resolution to 0.007 and Control R. Let's see. So this was Shift R, increase the resolution, Control R. But this is Blender. In Dynamesh, it's another shortcuts for the Dynamesh and another thing, but it's the same. In ZBrush, I mean. This is Blender. And this is how we do it in Blender. This is how I do it in Blender. Some people are asking me, why don't you use the Dino Topo, this Dino Topo here? I said that I don't like Dino Topo, and that's just my preference. If you want, you can use whatever. This is a sculpting exercise. Sculpting, shapes, anatomy, forms. Not the program Blender or not the program ZBrush or whatever. You see how her nostrils, as I always say, are going in like this, a little bit. By the way, I'm pretty happy with our result for 33 minutes because we have spent a lot of time in the beginning to make the right primal shapes of the skull. And we analyzed pretty well what is the distance between the nose and the mouth and other things. And at the end, this pays off. You know, if you don't analyze those things, of course, you cannot analyze them in the beginning. When I was like, even 6-7 years ago, I wouldn't be able to analyze it that correctly. Why? Because I haven't had the experience. I didn't have all the knowledge, all the practice, all the fails that I have now. The fails are very important, by the way. If you don't do a lot of fails, you will not learn how to succeed. That's kind of very true for everything. So we have to fail in order to succeed. Now I'm inflating here. We may even go to do a little bit of detail here on the lip, although it's not quite needed. But this thing here I will do. Just this, like this, slightly. Then we will inflate this area here a little bit. And then I will smooth this area on the sides. Because we know that the sides here are not that prominent. And this middle part here is the prominent of the lower lip. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. A little bit of detail, nothing too much. And I'm still not super happy with how the profile, for example, looks. Maybe because of the forehead is a little bit too much. And if we want to understand the forehead, of course, and those things, we have to go to a beautiful girl from the side view, which is this one. And let's see how they're working here. So the nose is kind of okay. I will smooth this area here, smooth this area. It's fine, because this is a stylized head and the nose is fine. But here, okay, she also have a little bit of a bump, like this, but not too much. We have to be very subtle with this, but it's there, you see, a little bit of a dimple in this area. So it's still, the skull has those things, but they are subtle. Subtlety is the key. And now, the forehead is kind of okay. Now you see, she's looking very stupid on the face because she doesn't have teeth. When somebody doesn't have teeth, it looks odd and a little bit blah, you know. Why? Because we always search for a partner, we search for somebody healthy. And usually, back in the days, when somebody is not that healthy, they may kind of have some teeth missing and stuff like this. Yeah, that's basically a problem. And that's why our brains are programmed to not like the lack of teeth. Also, lack of teeth also means old age. And we are not programmed to sexually like, not all of us are programmed to sexually like a person who is without teeth from old age, you know. So, either illness or old age will be the cause of lack of teeth, and both of those are not sexually attractive, you know, for most people. There are people who are attracted by old age, but that's absolutely different topic here. We don't talk about this. Yeah, I'm talking about a lot of things, but some things I don't understand quite much, so I cannot exactly speak about that. But I know it exists, so yeah. So this will be our eye. Very cool. This will be the iris here. Okay. And if we do our job and make teeth, maybe, which will be just a cylinder, I will scale it down, put it forward, scale it even more, put it here, back, and a little bit like this. They will be slightly visible, but they are making all the difference in the world. Yeah, it was cool without the teeth, but it was not that cool. With the teeth, it's a little bit better. Now you see, with a little bit of exercise, we are doing better females already. But you see, the concept, not the concept, but our reference image is great. I would say that it's very, very good. So we have to see who is this from. I would like to know. And probably you would like to know too. So let's see who made this image. Hopefully we will be able to... Oh, no, not this one. Control Shift I. No. Control Shift O. Control Shift O. Ah, yes. Okay, this is Vimal Kerketta. Ah, Vimal Kerketta, of course. Vimal Kerketta is a very good sculptor. Not very good. He's just amazing. So let's see his art station. This guy is amazing. He has 31,000 followers in ArtStation. 31,000. Why? Because he's like, see, very, very, very good. This is a stylized version of the girl from Squid Game. This is the penguin from Batman. Amazing stuff. I mean, if you ask me who is your favorite character artist, maybe, or sculptor, this could be one of the answers, probably. This guy is just... And this is the girl, by the way. This is the girl. I'm not sure what's happening here. Why didn't he make the clavicles and the other stuff correctly? But the rest is just mind-blowing. Really mind-blowing. I have like 13,000 followers. He has double and more. And this, I mean, this is better than real. I just amazing. You can make studies of these characters. This artist had like for eternity. It's so good. It's so good. And let's see if he make... Yeah, he has a 3/4. He has front, a little bit lower, a little bit... It's amazing. You can basically go to his profile, get some references, and start making heads. It's amazing. So, Vimal Kerketta. Amazing, amazing. Vimal Kerketta. Yeah, let's see it again. Vimal Kerketta. London, United Kingdom. I would probably guess he's Indian, but one of the best artists I've seen. I mean, 3D sculptors like me. Like me, but better. Beha. But Beha. He's Beha. Definitely Beha. Amazing guy. I'm always inspired by those things. I mean, I don't envy him or something because I know this is a result of a lot of work. So I know how much work I have put in becoming this good, for example. And he has put more. Because he's better. Especially in face, but also bodies. He's making amazing bodies. So basically he's better than me. But it's normal. That's why he has so many followers. Amazing guy. Very good. I'm glad that there are guys like this to push me forward. To make me kind of wish to be better and to see what is better, you know. It's very cool. This looks already kind of cool. I think we can call it done for now. Because, you know, for like how much time we have spent? 43 minutes now. It's looking relatively fine. Let's put some shadow just to see how it looks. Yeah, it looks pretty cool with the shadow. Here inside the mouth, let's increase the shadow. Very nice. I mean, not bad at all. Alright, this is our one of the last, maybe the last female head that we will do. And the next video we will do one male head, which will be from this, one of those heads, or head from all those guys. So this guy, we'll do a young male head, which will be pretty cool. You know, the cheekbones, more prominent here, thicker neck, Adam apple, although this guy doesn't have too much Adam apple, here is a little bit more prominent. We have, this is reference because we see this nice cheekbone and then the muzzle of the mouth is very prominent and it's visible, kind of very, very good here. And we have very nice kind of a meat around the mouth in here. We have this dimple, we have the cheekbone almost visible here. Very, very cool things going on in this whole spectrum of images here that I have gathered of those guys. And Henry Cavill, of course, For the side view we can use a little bit, although he's not that young anymore. But it will be very cool. For now, we end this video and we'll continue in the next one. Bye for now.